Here we are going to discuss worksheet B number 14. The topic is DSC Math 121B students. Now the research question is, what is the average Math 121B score of the population of DSC students? So the hypothesis, which is the claim, says that the score is greater than 75%. So we have to try to see whether or not this is true. So the objective is to determine the average Math 121B score of DSC students. So to do that now, we are required to calculate the sample mean and choose method 1 or 2 to calculate the standard deviation. So to calculate the sample mean, here is the formula. We've got to find the sum of fx over the sum of f. And as you can see, a table has been prepared, partially completed with the data collected. So we can transfer this to the whiteboard. And here we have our table copied and pasted. So as you can see, this is an interval distribution, and we need to calculate the midpoint in order to use the formula to calculate mean. So the midpoint now, the first midpoint has been calculated for us. It is actually 40. It's 35 plus 45 divided by 2. So that's 80 divided by 2 is 40. So now we have to calculate the midpoint for the second interval. So please take note, when you add in 45 and 55, you must use a bracket, or you have to equal first before you divide by 2. So 45 plus 55, that's 100. 100 divided by 2 is 50. So the midpoint between 45 and 55 is 50. Next, we've got to find the midpoint between 55 and 75. And that will give us 65. Next, we have to find the midpoint between 75 and 100. That would be 175 divided by 2. And that will give us 87.5. And these are the midpoints. So now we can now find fx, which is the frequency times the midpoint. The first one was done already. 50 times 40 is 2000. We have to find what is 30 times 50. fx. 30 times 50, that's how much? That's 1,500. Next, we have to find 10 times 65. That's 650. And then we've got to find 15 times 87.5. So that'll give us 1,312.5. And now we have found the fx's. Now we can add them up so that we can obtain the sum of the fx. So we've got to add 2,000 plus 1,500 plus 650 plus 1,312.5. So that's 5,462.5. And this number now will serve as our numerator. Okay. That's the sum of the fx's. 5,462.5 divided by the sum of the frequency. So we've got to add up the frequencies. 50 plus 30 is 80. 80 plus 10, 90 plus 15, 105. So we have to divide 5,462.5 divided by 105. And that will give us mean. So the mean is 52.02.